Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome to the very first devlog for New Haven, an action-adventure based role-playing game, or AARPG for short, where you play as a character named Moshie, who mysteriously gets trapped in a virtual world or virtual reality, where he meets new friends and does many things which I will not spoil. But that being said, it took quite some time to come up with a working title, and after all this time, it's great to begin saving the game under an actual name instead of ARPG or RPG, or I kid you not, the game. And so now I don't have to worry about it. And for those of you who are wondering, I'm building this game in GameMaker Studio, which is primarily a 2D based game engine, of which I've been working in for many years now. And so the good news is that I actually have a lot of resources from previous projects that I could actually utilize for this one to speed up the progress of this game, which is like the best thing you can do, right? Reuse what you already have, conserve. As for the artwork, I'm using Sprite, which is heavily used and is primarily a pixel art based tool, as you can tell from the user interface. I used to use GIMP, which is a free open source tool, and Piskel, which is a web browser based art tool. Yet Sprite seems to be far superior between the three. In this case, I'm using Sprite to create and modify pixel art, and then I'm utilizing a shader tool to make the pixel art smooth like this. With that being said, I'm a few months into game development, and hopefully by the ending of this year, I have something tangible to share with everyone, demo-wise that is, but let's get into this week's devlog. This week I began populating the beach, as I now have new characters and some objects to add. Right now my current process is I'm working with a freelancing pixel artist who is doing an amazing job. And so he completes artwork. I typically tweak the artwork or we modify the design until I have something that fits my vision. As per the last video, I was showing off the beach, yet it was pretty bare bones. And as of now, I have new characters to add, yet I noticed the characters need beach attire. So I'll have to go back and create multiple variations of each character. Yet for now, the current character sprites will act as placeholders until I can update them. And so this process is pretty tedious. As you can see, the sprite sheet needs to first be imported, followed by the sprite sheet getting sliced into many different pieces for each character. And then from all of those different pieces, those sprites need to be broken up into chunks for animations, along with setting an animation speed and point of origin. And so the cool thing is that there's flexibility with everything. And so in this case, I can approach this situation differently with sprite management, yet breaking them up like this is a bit easier to manage in my opinion. And so fast forward, we now have many NPCs. We have over 12 with very basic logic in place. As of now, the NPCs stay still on their idle animations, point in one direction, and know how to talk if approached. However, the NPCs are pretty plain and bare bones though, for now. As for next week, I'll work on adding some AI logic so the NPCs can be a bit dynamic and human-like, yet actually I take that back. These days people act like NPCs, and so human-like may not be what I'm going for, but engaging with respect to character personality traits. As for objects, I've added a tent, which I'm still on the fence for how it came out. I have two different designs, as you can see on the screen, a traditional looking tent and a more modern luxury looking tent. I have to modify this a bit further, but let me know what you guys think. Should I stay with the luxury tent or use the more traditional style one that looks a bit cleaner? Next, I added a volleyball net object, which came out great, and so all that's left is a actual volleyball. And the last item added this week was a welcome banner. I plan on adding a bar area soon as well, or a drink area, but more on that next week. As for now, the beach is coming along quite nicely. It's filling up a bit. I still have much more work to do, as you may notice, but there you have it, 1 week of development and an introduction to the game. Also, for anyone interested in retro gaming, or better yet, retro handheld gaming, I came across this device named RG353V from a company named Ambernick, which is a Chinese-owned company. Normally, I would rather prefer preferred using like an old DS or PlayStation Portable, but this company had a sale and all of the devices were about 10% off, which is not really much of a big deal, but these devices are in high demand as of late and don't really sell for anything less than listing price, even if you were to buy one used on like eBay or Amazon or something. So I ended up pulling the trigger. I picked one up for around $100 after tossing in a 256 gigabyte SD card. And so why pick one up, right? Well, the cool thing about this is, especially for game development, this little handheld device actually offers multi-boot, or it has support for Linux and Android. So not only can you play retro games, but you also have a choice of operating system. You can actually play around, maybe port a game over to Linux. In my case, I'm going to be porting over to Android just to get a feel for how the game plays on a smaller screen or a portable device with physical buttons, and something that isn't so beefy like my phone or home computer to see how the performance is. Pretty neat, and especially for retro gaming as well. This thing does up to PSP Dreamcast, so pretty eager for this to come in the mail and see what it's about. But that being said, that'll be it for this week. Thank you all for stopping by, and I will catch you guys next week.